Here we are today with another episode of Talking Sports with the Legend. Tonight's guest, UFC fighter Miranda Maverick.
Hey, what's up? Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
No problem. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Springfield, Missouri, but now I live in Norfolk, Virginia. I've been going to school out here and training here.
Where
Did you go to high school?
do you go to school?
Right now, I'm getting my graduate degree at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia.
What's her degree in? What's her What's her degree in? What's her degree in?
Oh, yeah. What is your degree?
Right now, I'm getting my PhD in industrial organizational psychology. So I'll be having my master's this summer, hopefully, and then moving on from there.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Appreciate it.
Did you always want to be a UFC fighter?
No, actually, that was never like a childhood dream of mine. I was always big about being practical, and for me, a professional athlete wasn't very realistic. But then as I kept getting older and I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and fell in love with that, I eventually decided I was going to try MMA. And at 18, I kind of told myself that I was either going to go be the best I could be and try to be world champion or never fight again when I took my first fight. Won the first one and told myself I'd go as far as I can. And here we are about 5 years later.
Cool.
5 years later. Okay. That was one of the questions Stephen was going to ask you.
Okay.
Ask her when she started.
Do you have a role model?
I do. So my dad is actually my role model. He's been kind of with me through this entire journey. He's still in my corner for all of my fights. Aside from my first UFC fight, he wasn't able to make it because of his passport issues. But he's been there for me, kind of my mental coach through everything and the one that raised me into what I am today.
You said passport issues. Where is your dad from?
He's in Missouri, but we had to go to Abu Dhabi for my UFC debut. And unfortunately, like because of COVID, he couldn't get renewed in time.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Ask her when she played. Did she start playing sports early, and what sports she play?
Did you play any sports as a kid?
I did actually. I did a lot of sports as a kid. I wasn't one of those kids that ever had like 6 sports going on at the same time, but I would try different things throughout my life. So I did gymnastics when I was super young, and actually arm wrestled when I was like 3 and 4 years old with my dad and for charity events. And then as I got a little bit older in school and stuff, I tried soccer, I tried basketball, which I was pretty good at. I did track and field, which I was pretty good at, and then wrestled a little bit in my senior year after I'd already started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But then once that stuff was done, I was set on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and then eventually transitioned into MMA.
So let's talk about the high school wrestling. Was it a girls' team or a boys' team that you were on?
It was a boys' team. I only did it for 3 months, actually, my senior year, because I was debating on going to college for wrestling. I knew I'd probably be good at it and thought I'd give it a shot. Signed up for 2 schools or applied to 2 schools that had women's college wrestling, almost signed to one of them, but got full rides to just about any other college I wanted and decided that that was the smarter choice to not be a student athlete on the side. Of course, I ended up being an athlete anyway when I went through college, but it's a little bit different because I got to structure my own schedule and stuff as an MMA fighter versus having to wrestle on a college team.
That's awesome. Congratulations on the scholarship, Steve. So she said she got a scholarship for brains, not her brawn, her brains.
That's right. I did.
How about that,
I got a full ride to Drury University as an undergrad for my academics. And they actually had a wrestling team my sophomore year that they started. And another reason that I'm glad I didn't wrestle in college is because I wouldn't have been allowed to be a professional MMA fighter, because once you're a professional athlete, you cannot do collegiate sports, which is an interesting fact that a lot of people don't know. So I was very glad that I actually did not go to wrestling for college, but I did get to compete with my team or practice with my team at Drury University. They started wrestling that second year I was there. And it was a men's team as well.
As I say, did you take them guys down, and then were they surprised?
I wouldn't say I was a great wrestler against them, but I definitely submitted several of them, and I think they were very surprised. I'd say about 80% of them just thought it was a bunch of bull crap until I finally got a hold of them.
That jujitsu comes in handy, boy.
Yes, very, very.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Ask her when she started.
What?
When did she play? Did she do amateur? Did she do amateur UFC first,
Did you do the amateurs in the UFC?
or just pro?
I did some amateur fights outside of the UFC. That was how I got started, was with 8 amateur fights. Actually, I fought for a place called Show Fight. I fought for a place in Kansas City called Blue Corner, and some other littler shows around the Missouri and Kansas area. And then I went to Invicta Fighting Championships. I made my pro debut there and fought for them up until I got the UFC call last June. And since then, I've had 2 UFC fights and 2 others that were supposed to be scheduled, but didn't work out. And now I'm getting ready for my next one, July 24th.
Awesome.
Oh. What is your favorite part about being a professional athlete?
I'd say the inspiration part. I'm inspired by other people being inspired by me, I guess you would say, and people coming up, especially little kids that are excited to see me and want to take pictures with me and stuff, or little girls dressing up for me as for Halloween and stuff. There's never been anything like that feeling. That and being able to have my siblings watch me succeed, and it kind of motivates them. I guess just the whole idea of inspiring others, and in turn, it inspires me even more.
Mm. Can you try out for the Olympics?
I don't think the Olympics have MMA yet, but they're getting there. They have wrestling, they have judo. They just added Muay Thai, I think, for the next Olympic trials. And they may have had something else added that was pretty close within the martial arts world. I can't remember what else it is. I don't know if jujitsu is added yet. I don't think so. But I'd say in the next 2 Olympics, maybe we'll see MMA. There just has to be a little bit more of a set guidelines and set time limits for that to happen. I honestly don't necessarily want it to have it in the Olympics, because then it's harder to make money outside of it. I think having it as its standalone sport is a good thing.
What is your favorite song to listen to?
That one's hard. I have a favorite genre, I think, but I don't necessarily have a favorite song. I like either 80s classic rock, which isn't exactly typical for my generation, I suppose, or I like Casting Crowns, religious music and stuff.
Do you come out to music like they do on TV?
I do. These last couple, I walked out to the Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin.
Nice.
And before that, I actually had Nunez's song, Champion, by Carrie Underwood, but she kind of stole that one, so I can't walk out with that one for the UFC, but I've walked out with it pretty much my entire MMA career.
That's awesome.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food, chocolate. As a whole, chocolate. I like it in cookies, I like ice cream, I like sweets, but chocolate for sure.
What is your weight class? What class are you in? What weight class?
Right now, I'm in a flyweight division. I, at one point, attempted strawweight division when I started my pro career. That's not where I should be. I'm too big for that weight division. Flyweight division is where I'm here and where I'm to stay.
What is flyweight for all of us guys who don't know what the weight limits are?
125 pounds with a 1 pound allowance. So I always weigh in on the bubble at 126.
And how tall are you?
5'3.5", 5'4"
Nice.
if I'm lucky.
All right. Do you have a pregame? Do you have a pre-fight ritual?
Do you have a pre-match? Do you have a ritual or routine that you do before every match?
Aside from just the regular warm-ups, I do. I actually pray every time before I walk out. My dad usually leads the prayer with me and my team and corners who are out there. And then I walk out. I kind of just say my own prayer right before I step into the cage, jump around a little bit, get my muscles warmed up, and then it's go time.
Ask her about when does she start? When does she start training after a fight?
How long do you start training after a match?
Usually the next day, to be honest, or at least that next Monday. Usually I get home,
I-
get done fighting Saturday and get back Sunday and get back to training Monday.
I told him, I said to him, most fighters they're crazy. That's what they do. And they want to stay in shape and they want to do it all
Yep.
the time.
Yep. And it's not just about staying in shape for me. Part of mine is my own criticisms, like I see how bad I do in a fight or look at the mistakes I made in a fight. And I want to get back in there and fix them while my mind's fresh and knows what they are. I will say this time I took about 2 weeks off. I had like a sore finger, I had a sore shin, and I'd already been back to back 3 fight camps. So I just took a small break, 2 weeks, and started back up this past Monday and got to it.
And how you said you had 8 amateur fights?
I did. Yep.
How did
7
you-
and
what
1
was
as
your
the
record?
amateur. 7 and 1.
7 and 1. And then how about the pro so far?
11 and 2.
Nice. Wow. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
thank you. Thanks. I guess they're saying 9 and 2 as well, but I got announced by Bruce Buffer last time as 10 and 2, so I'm going with 11 and 2. But I had my tournament in Invicta, and so 2 out of those 3 wins I got in one night. They didn't count officially because they were only 1-round fights, but I count them. I had 3 fights in a night.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would count anytime I fight somebody, and I don't ever fight anybody, but I don't care if it's 1 round or 5 rounds, it's a fight.
Where are you guys based in? What's the accent?
Philadelphia.
I thought that might be the case. Okay.
Yeah, we're right outside of Philly.
Got it.
Yeah, we grew up in the city. I grew up from the time I was 8 till I didn't leave the inner city till just a couple years ago. And Steven was born in North Philadelphia, and then we moved to the Northeast, and now we're outside of the city, living with his 36-year-old sister and her husband and 2 grandkids. And Steven's the
Okay.
godfather of the one.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
go.
I'd say I was actually just in Philly a couple of weeks ago, cornering a friend of mine. So I go up there pretty often to try to cross train and stuff.
Oh,
at
awesome.
Daniel Gracie's.
Where were you at? The 23 rink? The
Uh,
23,
I'll be honest, I'm not sure, but it was pretty close to Daniel Gracie's and EEFC out there at John's gym. I train out there with them a lot, but I'm trying to think of where the actual fight was. It was the CFFC fights.
okay. Yeah, there's a
Mhm.
couple. He has a friend that's a boxer, and they have boxing matches down in South
Yeah,
Philadelphia.
the arena.
The
Okay.
arena, 23 arena, it's
Yeah.
called.
Okay. I'm not sure. I'll be honest, I didn't pay enough attention. That might have been it.
That's all right. That's all right. But one thing Steven loves is female athletes. He helps out at a women's college soccer team, and
Mhm.
you guys are inspiration, like you said before about you're inspired by people who are inspired by you, and that's something that a lot of unfortunately women didn't have when I was younger. You said you love classic rock. Well, I was born in 1963, and that's my favorite music also. But it was weird because when I was a kid, the girls they played softball, but that was it. And then they started playing soccer that was my sport. When I was about probably 10 or 11, that's when the girls start getting organized, and the moms and dads were like, well, why can't my daughter play if my son's playing? It's
Right.
not. And then it was like, when girls started getting into wrestling and football, people were like, well, girls aren't supposed to wrestle. I'm like,
Right.
what do you mean girls aren't supposed to wrestle? Boys ain't supposed to wrestle either then. You don't want to, just because it's a boy, he's okay to fight, but a girl's not allowed to fight.
Mhm.
So I think, it's awesome that, what you ladies go through, because you can see the amount of dedication that you guys
Thank
have to
you.
put into it. And then you're going to become a doctor on top of it. You got to be kidding me. Come on. That's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's not
We
it's not
appreciate you
easy.
taking the
That's
time
for
out of your
sure.
day there. Now I know why you're so busy and you like to do it on Sundays.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
It was
Yeah,
so
I'm very
funny.
busy.
He goes, she wants to do it on the Sundays. And I said, all right, well, I get 2 days off now a week. I used to only have 1. So I said, sure, we'll do it on a Sunday. And then now I know why you're so busy. You didn't tell me
Yep.
you didn't know she was studying to be a doctor? Yeah, she studied psychology.
Oh,
So remember the guy we had the other day? He's Temple's starting quarterback. We interviewed the other day, and he's majoring in psychology, and he said he would like to get into sports psychology, and that's something that she's going to be able to. She's learning how to oversee other psychologists that are going to be helping people, and then going to have your own business.
Maybe eventually. Right now, the focus is going to be MMA and getting this degree for the backup, but eventually I want to actually be in consulting for businesses, because industrial psychology is focused more on the business world and how to help the businesses succeed and how to get employee satisfaction higher and also customer satisfaction through like statistical analyses and things like that. So I'm focused more on the math side of things, the statistics side for it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm actually in the next week or so going to be announcing on Instagram a new job that I have. I've kind of already foreshadowed it a couple times, but I'm really excited about it. So yeah, I'm very busy with school, and now a few more hours a week with this job, and also my sports, my MMA stuff. So yeah, busy life.
That is awesome, man. That's
Thank
great.
you.
Well, good.
Yep, counting down the days until school's over, which will be a couple years, but we're getting close in the grand scheme of things.
That's awesome.
How
Thank
far
you.
have you traveled for a fight?
Well, she just said she went to. You didn't hear. You know, he has hard time hearing and understanding sometimes. She said Abu
That's
Dhabi.
okay.
That's over in the Middle East.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Mhm.
Correct. Is that the furthest
Yep.
you went? I guess.
Yeah, that's the furthest I've went. I had never been out of the United States before, other than that time. Hoping to travel more with the UFC, but for now it's been Abu Dhabi and Vegas.
Vegas. All right.
Now,
That's it. Yeah, the bottom one. If you could have dinner, that's it. Unless you want to ask her a couple other questions. Oh, you said earlier about a fight camp. How long is the camps? Like a month beforehand or 2 months beforehand?
I'm kind of different than a lot of fighters. I never really get out of fight camp. A lot of people have fight camps, so to speak, because they stop training and then come in for those fight camps to train hard.
Right.
But for myself, I pretty much train the same all year round, all the time, fight or no fight. But during fight camps, I guess you would say is about 8 weeks out, I start getting really focused in and making sure I make every single practice and do cardio afterwards and things like that. So I'd say about 8 weeks out for me, and I think that's the general consensus among most fighters, is that 8 to 10 weeks mark.
Wow.
So about 2.5 months out from a fight, we start working really hard for it. You got to, and eating healthy with it and everything else.
Now, with COVID, how many people do they let in the locker room for a match?
Well, COVID right now makes it even stricter than before, I'm sure. And because I've only been in the UFC during COVID, I really don't know all of the details. But typically, it's 3 coaches and a fighter. And I think that's COVID or not. Unless you're like the champion, you can bring in more people and such. But for me, I have my 2 coaches. I bring my dad and then myself. And if I have to switch out those coaches for somebody else, if one of them can't make it, I do that.
Awesome. Stephen was asking me, and I'm like, I never was in the back of a fight of whether it was a boxing match. I've been to boxing matches down Atlantic City, and we knew some fighters, but I never went in the back. And you watch stuff on TV, and especially for the big matches, you see like like you said, the champ, they'll have like 7 guys all around them. And I said, I don't think it's like that in UFC, because especially when, in the beginning when you're just starting out.
Right, exactly. I think the higher up you get, you can kind of negotiate for more people.
Right,
So especially if you have a family, you can be like, oh, I want my husband and child in here or something. I'm sure that would be more of an option, just like you saw Amanda Nunes with I just went blank with Nina. And so they had like their kid in there, her, a few coaches, that kind of thing. So the higher up you get, the more options you get for that kind of thing. But yeah, it's just a locker room to ourselves right now with my coaches and my dad and myself. And then typically there's a cameraman or somebody in there to video, and then like a commission person to make sure you don't, put glass in your gloves or something to hurt somebody. And then every once in a while, the person that's wrapping your hands, and then they leave after they get done doing that.
That's awesome. That's it, Steve. That's it. That's it on this page. Just got the last question. That's the last one. That's it. If you could have dinner.
Oh, and one more, the last question.
Hmm.
could have dinner with 3 athletes. They could be dead or alive. Who would they be and why?
Oof. That's a very big thinker. I'll actually go ahead. If it's athletes, I'll stick with the MMA world. Um, I've always wanted to meet and actually talk to Brian Stan. I think he's a good person. I like his family values and like the whole history he has. And GSP, I've always wanted to meet him. I've read almost all of his books. I love them. Uh, and then, maybe Holly Holm or Sarah McMahon. One of those two. Probably Sarah McMahon.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah, and the
we
thing is though, it's hard for me to do that because I keep meeting my idols and now they're kind of my rivals, they say that. Yeah, it's the whole dream. And so like there's a lot of girls and stuff that I'd like to meet and train with, but I don't know if I'd necessarily want to sit down and hear their life story because my whole goal is to either fight them or learn from them.
Well, that's all right. You can hear all their tricks if they'll give them up.
That's right. That's right.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time out.
Thank you for your time.
Of course. No, thank you.
And
I'm
definitely
sorry it
send
took so
Steven
long to set this up.
Send Steven all your information for your fight so we can put it out there so people can watch, and hopefully you'll get around Philadelphia area someday and we can go out and see a fight.
Yeah, that'd be great. And just so that everybody on here knows, it's July 24th. I'll be fighting Macy Barber. I'm number 15th ranked right now. She's number 14. So it's kind of a fan prompted fight. We weren't, I think it could have waited until we were a little higher ranked to fight each other as young prospects. But it's what everybody wanted to see. So it's happening.
And where's that going to be at?
Not sure yet. Everything's TBA for that fight.
Okay. July 24th?
Yep.
July 24th. All right, Steve. Write
All
that
right.
down. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Good luck.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That was awesome, Steve. She was good.